Good morning. I have just cast off my lines from Iceland and I'm getting underway for a passage of 150 nautical miles to an island off the northern coast of Iceland called Grimsey. And there's something a bit unique about that island, but more about that later. For right now, it's 0 degrees C outside, quite cold. So I'm going to get the sails up and then I'm going to put some more layers on. Well, I'm turning around the northwest corner of Iceland, and soon I'll be taking a heading due east toward the island of Grimsey, but more about that later. I've passed quite a number of whales, lots and lots of bird life here. It's actually just a beautiful sailing area. It's going to be a bit sporty tonight. I'm looking forward to winds of about 30 knots. But it's 30 knots heading almost due downwind, so I've done that many times before. I'll just do the same as I usually do, which is usually just a head sail. So, more later. That headland up there, that cape, is known here in Iceland as the Horn. You can see where this is going. I swagger into the bar at the local marina in my hometown to retell the story of the time I'd sailed solo Isabel around the Horn. Well, in all seriousness, in talking to the locals, this area can have some really vicious weather. There was a fisherman who was talking about 18-meter waves, so it can get quite intimidating. The Arctic Circle is defined as that latitude where the midnight sun is just visible at summer solstice. And because the Earth wobbles on its axis, that latitude is not a constant latitude all around the Earth. But around Iceland, it's at 66 degrees 33 minutes north. So if you look at this, I'm at 66 degrees 34 minutes north. 66:34. I'm considering changing the name of the boat. What do you think of Isabel Arctic Explorer? Okay, that may be a bit over the top. I'll soon arrive at the island of Grimsey that's off the northern coast of Iceland, and it has a unique distinction of having part of the island in the Arctic Circle. So I'm sure when we get there I'll think of an appropriate way to celebrate this major event. The high winds predicted arrived, no surprise. I'm looking at about 23, 25 knots true wind right now that I've had for 8 or 10 hours now. Isabella handles this well. I've got a double reef in the main, and I've got even the Jenny out, but partially furled. So we're flying. We're doing about 7 knots, and about 2.5 hours away from my destination of Grimsey. The Icelandic Sea, on some charts, it's even labeled the Arctic Ocean. You just have to be prepared for some challenging winds from time to time. What's really challenging is not this, it's the stress of arriving in a harbor that I don't know. That's what stresses me more than anything else. I could stay out in this all day long. So I don't know what to expect when I get to the harbor and turn the corner inbound. So will there be lots of open space? Will it be easy to get onto a wall, or is the wind going to blow me off so strong that... So those are all the surprises that lie ahead. So I'm arriving at Grimsey in 25 knots of wind and rain. And the entrance is right up there, but I don't see it. Good morning. Well, after one very cold and very windy night near the Arctic Circle on Grimsey Island, I've decided to go back to the mainland. So I'm a very short passage, about 30 miles today, just to go back. I'm sure you can't see it. There's the mountains. They're still covered with snow. To a place called Siglufjord. And the guidebook says used to be the herring capital of the world. I tried to put up the sails. You can see I'm motor-sailing now, but there's only 4.5, 5 knots of apparent wind. That's not quite enough. I think in a couple of hours I'm supposed to have a good 10 to 12 knots, so I'll get the sails up then. Well, I'm coming up to the entrance to my next port, which is Siglufjord. Apologies to my Icelandic friends. The guidebooks here were totally incomprehensible as to where you should go. There's a hotel pontoon, there's a inner harbor and outer harbor, but they were not clear at all on what you should try to do. So we'll just show up and take a look. It looks really shallow in some of those places where the smaller boats are. So I'm going to tie up alongside this this pier for right now and then walk around them all, ask a few questions and see where we go from there. So I'll be safe here. Hello. I'll throw you a line there.
Yes, I will take your line.
Okay, thank you. I don't know where the best place to go is, so I'll tie up here for now.
Yes, it's better place inside there, but the harbor master are off for the weekend.
Yeah, I was just afraid it might be a little too shallow in there. I'll give you this line here. Just sit there. Just tie up Just take a turn. Okay. Okay. Well, it's the 8th of May, and it's snowing here in the Arctic Circle. So I decided to celebrate in the only appropriate way. I got dressed for the occasion. Now, if I can only remember what I did with my pina colada. Well, this fishing vessel has just come in, and they offloaded a load of cod and halibut right in front of Isabel. And the very first thing they did was offer me a cod, which was very, very nice of them. But I want to show you something else they did. This is a courtesy. When they came in, I was already there. They put their mooring line below mine as a courtesy. That's something you're supposed to do. There's a technique for doing that called dipping the eye, but they just lifted mine off and put theirs down. I just thought that was so neat. You know, there's these fishermen, Icelandic, so polite, offer me a big, gigantic cod, and they put their mooring lines below mine. Wow. And there we go, catch of the day, cod. Whole container's full. Well, I want to get underway in about an hour, so I've got a bit of work to do. One last view out over this beautiful area here. You can see it's covered with snow now. The ducks don't seem to mind. Siglufjord. I think the locals call it Siglo. This is the nautical equivalent of de-icing an aircraft before flight. I never liked that either. Well, the wind is shifted strongly to the northwest now, and that's good. I'm glad I can't go back to where I came from. So let's press on. Today will be a challenging sail to Iceland's most northern town. It's an 85-mile passage. And to start with, it's -1 degrees, and I don't know if you can see it, but it's actually snowing here. You can see the snowflakes bouncing off there. And in addition, the wind is right now at about 20 knots, but it's supposed to go close to 30 knots, 28 to 30 knots, which means with the gusts, it'll be 35 to 38 in a couple of hours. So that's a challenge. That makes it, it's a little uncomfortable, but I use a very conservative sail plan when it's like that. I've already got 2 reefs in and the stay sail. So, and then what I'll probably do when the wind gets 23, 25 knots, I'll actually probably just drop the main and just go on the staysail around the northeast corner of Iceland. There's a bit of an acceleration zone there. So challenging conditions, but we're making progress and moving forward. Well, we are arriving at Reyðarup. Okay. It's another difficult arrival, 25 knots on arrival. The approach to Reyðarup in 21 knots of wind. Reyðarup. While I was in Reyðarup, a professional fisherman and his very lovely wife were kind and invited me to their home for dinner. And while we were there, we discussed this issue of AIS on fishing buoys. And he explained to me that the first solution that officials proposed was very expensive. They cost more than €1,000 a unit. They would fall off, and moreover, the MMSI officials wanted them encoded so that only the fishermen would see them. Obviously, there's no surprise that didn't have a lot of success. And then a Chinese organization proposed a very low-cost solution, and the fishermen love it. And there's still a technical issue with the MMSI code that now everyone can see it, which I think is the way it should be, but for some reason officials want to have the signal encoded. So the current status is that they are technically tolerated, but not yet officially approved for use. And this is the northeast corner of Iceland. All my headings here henceforth will be southward bound and homeward bound. I don't know. They weren't there yesterday.